Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. My name is Jaden. Here's how to correct anterior pelvic tilt. And this was something I had a big struggle with for years. Literally, like it was probably one of the biggest struggles of my life. And I first noticed it in high school and I got made fun of it because it looked like a stick was shoved up my ass. And I remember being so embarrassed by it. Like every video I watched, it seemed like none of the tips could help me or none of the tips really worked. It took me almost 2 years to actually overcome this and correct my posture to be back the way it was. And if you guys aren't sure what anterior pelvic tilt is, it's basically when your pelvis tilts downwards. And so it basically looks like your butt is sticking out huge. And if you're wearing a belt, it's easy to tell. So put pants on with a belt, and if the belt tilts down, or the front part of the belt tilts down, and the back part is more up, then it's then you probably have anterior pelvic tilt. Another thing you can do is just put where you're basically, if you look at your belt and you put like a ruler straight across where your pelvis would be neutral, and if it tilts anywhere, then you probably have anterior pelvic tilt. But anyways, luckily mine wasn't that bad. I did catch it early on, but I just want to share with you guys some of the things that helped me to finally overcome anterior pelvic tilt, because I watched all these videos, all these YouTube videos, all these articles about it, and it took so long for me to actually overcome it and correct it. And so some of the precautions, or some of the common things that are actually not good for you, is don't stretch your hamstrings. If you have anterior pelvic tilt, or APT is what I'll call it, they're already overstretched. Your hamstrings are already overstretched because when your pelvis tilts down, then it shortens your hip flexors, which are your quads, so the muscles on the front of your leg, and it lengthens your hamstrings, so they're overstretched because of the tilt. So stretching your hamstrings will only make it worse. They're already overstretched. You don't need to stretch them anymore. And the other thing is, don't stretch your low back either. Even though it may look like you have lumbar lordosis, or it looks like you have a huge arch in your back, it's not because of the low back. It's because your glutes are not doing their job. You have to strengthen your glutes so that way the low back doesn't have to try and do its job for them. The low back is trying to do the glutes job for them because they're not strong enough. And so when it does that, it causes that excessive arch to happen. And on top of anterior pelvic tilt, it also causes the arch because your hip flexors are attached to your lumbar vertebrae. And so when your hip flexors shorten and when they're tight, then they pull on your low back, and as a result, they form an arch, and it also makes your low back sore. So you don't need to stretch your low back. Your low back is not the problem. Same with your hamstrings. They're just simply they're a result of the problem, of a deeper problem that's occurring. And so if you guys don't know, it's also called lower cross syndrome, anterior pelvic tilt. But basically, you have weak glutes, weak abs, a tight low back muscles, so the erector spinae muscles, and the tight hip flexors and overstretched hamstrings. But so to correct anterior pelvic tilt, you have to strengthen your abs and glutes, and you have to stretch your hip flexors. And over tight hip flexors are caused by sitting so much. Like I'm sitting right now, and not stretching. Like we sit so long, and of course we're lying down for 8 hours out of the day while sleeping, and chances are you're probably working or at school, and so you're sitting for like 8 hours out of the day, plus eating and stuff. You're probably sitting while eating. So we're sitting the vast majority of the day and laying down the vast majority of the night. And so as a result, if you don't stretch them over time, then you will develop anterior pelvic tilt, or you will just have so tight hip flexors, like you'll have flexibility issues. And so you have to stretch them. And so you can stretch them. So like you can look up different stretches. Like I'll link to you guys some stretches down below and some videos that are really helped me be able to stretch my hip flexors and overcome anterior pelvic tilt. But you can do like a lunge stretch. So if you type in Google like lunge stretch for hip flexors, and there are tons of tutorial videos on it, but I basically did that for 2 to 3 times a day for like 30 to 60 seconds per leg. And the butterfly stretch is great too, because if you can't get yourself in that lunge position, if it's just you just don't have the flexibility for it, you can stretch your adductors, which are the inner thigh muscles, through a butterfly stretch. So type in butterfly stretch on Google, and that will help you to be able to get into that lunge position over time. But stretching your hip flexors and your adductors, the inner thigh muscles, I did the butterfly stretch like 1 to 2 minutes for like 2 to 3 times a day. And what this one video, Athlean-X, is a great guy, Jeff Cavaliere. I'm linking to some of his videos because they really helped me overcome anterior pelvic tilt. But he recommends also, like, you can even every hour, just get up and do a 30-second stretch for your hip flexors. That can be huge because you're getting in the habit of stretching, so you're becoming more flexible, but also you're relieving the tightness that has caused anterior pelvic tilt in the first place. So you're really just doing yourself a favor, because if you neglect stretching, if you just say, oh, I'm not that old yet, I'll be fine, or no, it's not that bad, it'll be fine, my tilt's not that fine, or it's not that bad, then you're only going to have pain down the road, and it's going to be harder to take care of it later down the road. So now it's going to be the easiest time it ever will be to overcome this, and even if you don't have anterior pelvic tilt, still stretch your quads and your hip flexors, because that will save you so much pain later down the road. So some other things, so strengthening your abs. So you can do ab routines. You can type in tons of ab routines that you can do online. Like I watched Athlean-X, Jeff Cavaliere. He has a video on anterior pelvic tilt. I would highly recommend watch that. It'll be linked down below for you guys, but that really helped me. His advice in there. Also, I did a lot of his ab workouts. So you can type in Athlean-X ab workout, and all of those worked great. Like I did abs literally like 5 to 10 minutes every single morning before school, before working and stuff like that for months. And that really helped me so much. And strengthening your glutes. You can do things like hip thrusts or leg curls at the gym, Bulgarian split squats. If you're not going to the gym now, you need to be doing some type of exercise to strengthen your glutes. And so you better start going if you're not right now, or doing some type of exercise that can strengthen your glutes. You can do glute bridges. You can type that in on Google, glute bridges, basically just thrusting your hips up. You're lying down, you thrust your hips up, squeeze your glutes together, and that can be a great exercise as well. And there's some other ones that you can do. There's also like the side leg raise, which there's a video. I'll link to you guys below. It's a tutorial video on how to do that. That really helped, I believe, overcome my anterior pelvic tilt by strengthening my glutes, because the glutes are like one of the most overlooked muscles that we need to develop. You have to have strong glutes in order to have proper posture in general. And if you don't, the consequences could be severe. Way more severe than just anterior pelvic tilt. It can lead to like hernias. It could lead to back pain, chronic back pain. It could lead to problems with your shoulder, because all of that stuff, like it can lead to so many problems, guys. Most of the time, or some of the times, the problems that we think we're having are actually caused by deeper problems that we're not addressing. And weak glutes are a cause of tons of different major posture problems and just problems in general that you don't want to have. And I'm not a physical therapist by any means. This is, for entertainment purposes only. I have to put that disclaimer out. But again, guys, I just want to help you guys, because this was something big that really was a painful problem in my life. And hopefully you guys can benefit from this too. But some other things. Really, this is the most important thing too, is notice your habits per day. I realized what I was doing is I was slouching. Slouching in your chair can lead to anterior pelvic tilt, because of your low back is slouched, your pelvis is already tilted when you're slouching. It's just not good posture. And I also realized I was hyperextending my back, so I was overextending it while sitting. I was just sitting in an unnatural way, and I didn't realize that. And I did that for literally like years, until I finally caught myself, and I realized that was something I needed to fix and address for my anterior pelvic tilt to become better. And so notice your habits. Notice like if, and also like if you're sitting, if you eat while looking at your phone, you don't want to be looking so far forward, because that can lead to rounded shoulders, rounded head, a nerd neck, or upper cross syndrome is what it's called. But those things are correctable. So notice your habits, notice your daily habits, become aware of them, because those are usually the problems, or those are usually the things that are causing the problems that you have in the first place. And I also tried to stop doing any gym exercises where I bend at the waist, so like bent over rows or deadlifts or whatnot. I just tried to stay away from those at least temporarily until my anterior pelvic tilt was better under control. But basically, guys, yeah, the summary of it, definitely improve, strengthen your glutes, strengthen your abs, stretch your hip flexors, pay attention to the habits that you do on a daily basis, like how you sit, how you stand, etc., because those could be leading to you having postural issues. But yeah, guys, I'm going to link to some videos for you guys down below. Highly recommend you watch them because those include some of the exercises that were mentioned in this video, and those were the exercises that really helped me overcome my anterior pelvic tilt and make it better. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Definitely apply these tips, but again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps. Subscribe for more. Catch you guys in the next video.